Hi, I'm Jesse with Slyyd. In this video, I'm going to cover a number of ways to use LookStacks in the real world. I'll cover how to save your lighting setups as pages, how to create light switch cues, how to mix looping animated LookStacks with other elements, how to troubleshoot color mixing problems, and how to implement timed sequences. My previous LookStack videos had a abstract setup using a grid of Vortex 4s, but today I've used Capture's visualizer to build something much closer to a common use case for Slyyd. So here we have a two-wall living room set with a backdrop that is complete with an actress who has apparently stolen a Titan tube from the LED cart and is wielding it like a lightsaber. So yes, a much more realistic example. Now this daytime look here is a pretty traditional lighting setup for a stage. While this isn't necessarily a real-world use case for Slyyd, I have built this look stack down here that breaks down the different elements of this particular lighting setup into separate pages to show off the different fixtures that I'm using. So if I open up this look stack, we can see that here this first page is everything combined, but the next page is the key light. Here's the fill light, backlight. Here we have the practical lamps, vanity lamps, a cat poster special because that is my cat and she is special. Overhead room tone, sunbeams, over the window lights, outdoor space lights, and then we have the backdrop up lights. And all of these combine together to create this daytime look. But even if you're on location or you're shooting something much smaller in your basement with just a handful of fixtures, LookStacks are still a great way to record and organize your different lighting setups. So here I have my primary LookStack for this living room set, and even though it does have a play button here, as all LookStacks do, this LookStack was not built with the intent of being played all the way through. This is primarily a collection of static looks. So I have at the beginning here a bunch of different base looks that cover a bunch of different common moods and times of day that we might reuse again in the future. And then afterwards, I have a number of individual scenes that we've recorded. So every lighting setup that we shot, I have a different page for that, so that in case we ever have to do reshoots in the future, it's super easy to go back and pull up what we shot that day. Creating base looks does take a bit of prep work that there isn't always time for, but let me show you how fast lighting a new scene can be when you put in that work ahead of time. So let's say we have another scene to shoot, scene 42, that takes place on a cloudy day. To start, I need to duplicate my base cloudy day look. That's going to give us a head start. To do that, I'm going to go to Settings. I'm going to find that page. Here it is, the base cloudy day page. Let's duplicate that. I'm going to give it another name. We're going to name it Scene 42. And then let's move it to the end of our look stack just to keep everything in order. And then finally, let's activate that page. So that's going to be our active page. And when we tap save, then there we go. So now we have our base cloudy day. But in scene 42, the power has gone out in the living room. So that means we need to make some lighting changes. So let's open up our look stack. We're on scene 42. Now when the power goes out, that means these practicals are going to go out. So no practicals in the living room, but those practicals were motivating our key and our fill light. So let's kill those as well. Great. And then to give us a cleaner silhouette, let's kill the overhead fill light as well. All right, but she is holding that Titan tube, and that Titan tube runs on batteries. So maybe that Titan tube's on. But it's not, that's right, it's not in our base look, so I need to add it to this page. All right, press the plus button, tap on the Titan tube. All right, so now we've added the Titan tube to our page. Here it is. Let's turn that on. And hey, so maybe she's not a thief after all. Maybe she's using the Titan tube like a flashlight in order to find the breaker panel. So now we have the start of scene 42. But in this scene that I made up, she does find the breaker panel and she turns the breaker on, which turns the lights back on. So that means we need to create a light switch cue. This is one of the most common narrative cues we run into. And it's simple to do. I just need to duplicate the current page here, and then we'll give that a name to remind us what it is. Let's name it Scene 42 Lights On. Save. All right, so now on the lights on page, we need to turn the lights on. Let's turn on our practicals because those are going to come on with the breaker. And as a bit of movie magic, we'll also turn on the fill and key lights because those are motivated by our practicals. Okay, great. So now all I have to do is navigate back to the previous page, and then I wait with my iPad and watch the actress until I see her motion to turn on that breaker switch. Then I just press this next button here, and oh, oops, I forgot a step. So this is a light switch, so the lights want to turn on immediately, and I need to change the timing values in order to do that. On this second page, I'm going to change the time in value to 0 seconds because it's going to take 0 seconds for it to turn on. And on the previous page, let's also change the time out value to 0 seconds as well. Now when I press it, lights turn on like a light switch, and we have our scene 42. And since I created this in a look stack, that means I already have a saved copy of what we did in scene 42 in case we need to return to it later. Let's make things a little more complicated. Perhaps an emergency vehicle pulls up with flashing lights outside during scene 42. Best way to accomplish that would be to create a separate looping look stack that contains emergency lights that we're going to play at the same time. Now I already have one built here that loops through 4 different pages. But since we're working with these 2 look stacks, I'm going to make things a little easier on myself. I'm going to change the stack number so that it moves this look stack next to the other look stack that I'm working with. Now I just need to arm the play button so that when I toggle this look stack on, it's going to transition in over the stack timing value that I have set already. Now I just need to wait for the director to give me the cue to turn on these emergency lights. So the emergency vehicle comes in, I toggle it on, and now the pressure is on for our actress to find that breaker panel so she can turn on the lights before the police realize that she's broken in, and oh, she is a thief, isn't she? She's a thief. Now this was smooth and easy because the fixtures I used for the emergency lights were not in the current page of my living room stack. But let me show you a less smooth situation. Now here, I have the bulbs around my cat poster set to do a color chase. But when I turn it on, you'll see that it works, it is chasing, but it's really muted and it doesn't look anything like the cover photo. And if I open up this look stack, we'll see that its pages are full of fixtures that are really saturated. In fact, they're all at 100% saturation. And if I go back to the scratch pad, where I can see the combined output of all my different look stacks, and I select those vanity lights and open up my control panel, we'll see that, yeah, I have this really muted color that's really close to white. So, how do I fix this? Well, if I go back to the lookbook, and I take the opacity slider for our color chase here and I drag that to 100%, you'll see that, it is now more saturated. It kind of helped. But if I go to the scratch pad again, we'll see that while it is more saturated, it's not 100% saturated as it should be in our color chase. So to really get to the root of this problem, I need to look in my other look that is on, which is my living room look stack. Now let's open that up, and in here, we'll see that we have these Luna bulbs in here. Now, even though they're off, they still have color data that's tied to them. So it still has 2800 Kelvin. So this warm white light is mixing with my saturated colors and essentially desaturating everything. Now, if I want the really saturated colors from my color chase to win, then what I need to do is I need to select all these Luna bulbs. I need to get rid of them. So I need to remove them from this page. And then after I remove them, now we see that we have that 100% saturation we're looking for. On the scratch pad, we see, yep, all along the gamut line there, 100% saturated. And now I can even move this opacity slider down really low, and I still have 100% saturation for that color because that color isn't mixing with any other fixtures in any of these other look stacks. And this way, I can use this opacity slider to change the overall intensity for this color chase. Last example. Let's say in scene 45, our character is shooting an episode of her true crime podcast with her unique perspective being a criminal herself. But the intro to this podcast is very dramatic, complete with flashing lights and color changes. Now, we wouldn't do that with a looping look stack because the intro only plays once. It is a single sequence, but it would still want to be its own separate look stack. I wouldn't put it in my living room set look stack, for example, because that's full of other pages that I wouldn't want to play through. So here I have my separate podcast intro look stack that I'm going to turn on now. I'm also going to reset it to page 1. Now all I have to do is wait for that podcast intro music to start, press play, and I get my dramatic podcast intro. Now if you're thinking to yourself, well, if she's supposed to be hosting a podcast, how is she able to control the color of the sun and the sky? Yeah, well, it looks cool, and this is just a demonstration. And that wraps it up for this practical demo of LookStacks. We covered a lot today. How to use base LookStacks for a set to quickly light new scenes and create cues like a light switch cue. We learned how to mix looping LookStacks with other LookStacks, and how to troubleshoot color mixing issues when the same fixtures exist in multiple LookStacks. And we learned how to implement more detailed timed sequences. But for those of you who still want to learn more, I'm going to make this Slyyd project and capture project available at slyyd.io, so you can experiment with what I've built here using the free demo of Capture. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.